So the thesis of this episode of the podcast is that comparison is a happiness bandit. The more that you compare yourself to other people or compare your successes to other businesses' successes, the more that it takes away from the happiness that you get out of your own journey and your own accomplishments. So before we really deep dive into that, I want to talk a little bit about the importance of role models. Now, role models are vital because they give us a sense of what can be accomplished. They give us sort of, what am I trying to say here? They validate the vision that we have for ourselves. And so because of that, it's important for us to choose role models. Now, there's a difference in my mind between role models and mentors. Mentors are someone that is going to be hands-on with you. They're going to maybe even be in a coaching position with you. They can really help you implement these ideas and help you become what it is that you are hoping to become. A role model is somebody that maybe we admire from afar. It's somebody that we see what they're doing, we like it, and because of that, we aspire to do something similar, but we may or may not really have that much of a relationship with that person. So when it comes to choosing a role model, I think that it's important to understand what area of expertise are you choosing that person to be a role model for. Maybe you have a business role model, somebody that you look up to, or maybe a business that you admire, that you like the way that they handle their business. But separately, you have a creative role model, somebody that you really, you vibe with the work that they put out, and you would love to create something in a similar fashion, but of course make it your own. Maybe you have a family role model where they embody all the things, all the characteristics that you would like to embody when it comes to relationship with your family. And so it's important that we choose these different areas of expertise because there is no one person that will ever live up to all of the things in every category that you want to be. If there is, and you somehow have a way to create and have that person become a mentor, that would be a fantastic person to be a mentor for you. The next thing I like to think about, though, is can you meet or work with that person? And the answer for anybody that you choose is going to be yes, no, or maybe. And because of that, I like to choose somebody in all of these different areas that fits those three things. So if I were just to talk about business, somebody that I admire a lot would be Steve Jobs. What he did with Apple is obviously an amazing example of a business. But can I meet him? No, I cannot. When he passed away, I could still learn from him because I looked up every video, every interview that I could find. I've read books, but I will never be able to meet him. I got to see him present one time, which was awesome to be able to say that I did that and have that experience. But I do not have the chance to work with him or meet with him. Somebody that I do work with would be my mom and dad. They're great business mentors. They're, a hands-on relationship with me, so they're a role model and a mentor. And what they've been able to do with Hairloft and what they've been able to teach me is the whole entire reason why I am where I am. Somebody that I admire that I haven't met, but I could, would be, maybe Gary Vaynerchuk. If you guys are doing stuff online, social, entrepreneur, you've probably seen some of Gary's work. Gary comes from a family business as well and has really accelerated it, and I really admire a lot of the stuff that he stands for and what he does. But he's somebody that I could work with or I could meet. And so if you click the link in the episode notes, I'm going to put up a bit of a worksheet that I think helps illustrate and explain what I'm saying. But if we choose people for different areas of expertise and then find people that we can work with, we might be able to get to know it. Again, it helps us understand why we like people and how we can learn from those people and how we get to engage with them. But here is sort of the nuts and bolts of what I was saying up at the top, that comparison is a happiness bandit. The challenge is that comparison blinds you. And right now with social media, I think that the biggest problem is that people are using social as a way to yes, engage with people that they like and sort of follow and check in with role models, but because you think that they are so accessible, it also opens the door to comparison. And the thing to keep in mind with all social media is that it's more than likely always going to be a best of episode. Everybody is their own PR agent, and they are using social to put their best foot forward. Not in all cases, but in most cases, if it's people that we admire, they're using it to put their best foot forward and speak with pride. We go on social and, we want to hashtag humble brag, and we want to show, like, look at me on the beach with my cocktail. Look at the amazing time that I'm having. And it's all the peaks. It's all the top tier best of pieces of life. And so then we look at it and we go, I'm not sitting on the beach with a cocktail. My life isn't as good as theirs. When that's not true. It's not true at all. You have awesome things going on in your life. You have amazing things going on in your business. But because you've compared them to this other person, this, person that you admire, and you've chosen them as a role model, because you've compared it to them, you've lost sight. You've become blind to the happiness that was in your own journey. When somebody puts out work, it doesn't really tell you the story of how long it took, or if the guest was really happy, or if the guest ever came back. And so while you might admire it from a creative standpoint, you don't know the full story, so don't get that upset about it. They don't really share when the salon isn't full. They're not going to share stories about when clients are unhappy. And so take everything with a grain of salt. When we think about these role models, I think that it's really important for us to take a step back, and it becomes really easy for us to say, like, so-and-so is so much better than me, or so-and-so, because they're so much more successful, maybe they're smarter than me. And I don't believe that to be true. I had a point in my life where I had a role model that I was looking up to, had been for years. And until I made the switch of thinking, instead of thinking, he's so much smarter than me, I started to think, I'm just as smart as he is. He just has more time ahead of me. And when I made that mental shift, it really unlocked a whole new ability for me to be able to think for myself, but also know that I could accomplish what he did, and even more so. And I think that that's really important. If you like somebody from a creative standpoint, talent is attainable. You just have to continue to work at it. You don't have to compare yourself to somebody else's talent. You just have to keep working, keep practicing. Now, I'm going to flip it here a little bit. Our role models fail too. And that is something that can equally hurt. While comparing ourselves to other people hurts in the removal of our happiness, sometimes the feeling of maybe empathy for our role models can also pull us back. So this is kind of a weird example, but I remember when I was in 3rd grade, I went to the park with my dad. We were playing basketball, shooting some hoops, and I literally started crying, and I walked off the court. And my dad asked, "Why are you crying? What's Because we had been having a good day. I might have been missing some baskets, but he asked what was wrong. And I was so upset that Michael Jordan had retired. At this point, I had never met Michael Jordan, but obviously growing up in Chicago in the 90s, everybody wanted to be like Mike. And I was so upset that Michael Jordan had retired, and I said, if Michael Jordan doesn't even play basketball anymore, then why should I play basketball? And, obviously that doesn't make any sense, but in my third grader mind, it was crystal clear that if my role model didn't play basketball anymore, that then I shouldn't. And, we could probably take that lesson and apply it. Maybe somebody you admire doesn't do smoothing services anymore. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't. Maybe the person that you admire only does balayage now, but you still like traditional foils. Well, keep doing traditional foils, right? that's the point, is you do not have to duplicate your role model either in their successes or their failures. This is your journey. It is absolutely okay for you to admire people. I would recommend that you admire people, acknowledge people's greatness, but don't compare yourself to it. Don't miss your own highlights because you're too busy watching theirs. Talent, business, social, smarts, all sorts of stuff. Use it as inspiration to drive yourself forward. I don't know how many of you do like Sudoku puzzles or crosswords, but the joy of finishing a Sudoku puzzle is actually really small. And so when we set this up as like a comparison to like, I want to finish it, I want to get done, and I want to accomplish this, it's not nearly as much fun as filling in the puzzle is. When you start to unlock, oh, this number goes here, this one goes, oh, I finished that line, I finished this box. That's where the excitement of a Sudoku comes in. Same thing with a crossword, when you finish that word, but then there's almost like when you get to the end, you're like, oh, it's done. And so what I'm trying to say is like, don't be so set on finishing it that you lose sight of the fact that you are accomplishing a lot along the way. So I'd love to hear back from you. Who are some role models that you've chosen? Who are some mentors that you have? Is this how you think about doing it? Email me, ben@thehairloftltd.com. And this Friday, we're going to have the best of 2016 episode of F&F Q&A. I would love your questions for the new episodes coming out soon. I think it's going to be awesome. Like I said on the last couple of shows, I love the format because I'm able to answer your real salon reality questions. But until the next time that we talk, don't compare yourself to other people and keep living your successful lifestyle.